When we design our formal organizational structure, we have to assess this structure and see how this structure enhances or reinforces the desired level of coordination, communication, collaboration, exchange of information and knowledge. This exchange process happens between employees, between departments, and between the business and the market. We need also to assess the flexibility of that structure. Is it flexible enough to respond to technological changes, the innovation demands, the changes within the market? Is it flexible enough to respond quickly to disruption in the economy, disruptions in the market, especially if these disruptions will affect our long-term success? And also we need to assess, is this structure aligned with the business strategy? Does it reinforce the business strategy for growth? Does it enable the management to optimize talent, to allocate resources in effective and efficient way? And also, does this organizational structure support accountability? Does it allow different personnel and different departments or divisions to perform their responsibilities, whether it's planning, organizing, leading, controlling, developing? Does it support the critical relationships either between the business and the suppliers or vendors, the business and the employees, and in general terms, our internal and external stakeholders? To have this efficient organizational framework, we need the right culture, the right structure, and the right management approach. So when we ask these questions and we perform these assessments, we have to think of these three spheres: structure, culture and environment, and management approach. These components of the organizational framework, and the organizational framework will ultimately guide the business system and model. Structure is the formal framework of the business. Usually it organizes the different responsibilities allocated within the organization. Remember when we talked about business strategy and how we need the efficient and effective execution of the business strategy to achieve the desired goals? How we can relate the business strategy and the organizational structure. To execute the strategy properly, the business structure or the organizational structure must be developed and aligned with that strategy in a manner that provides the necessary guidance related to decision making and work optimization. It is so critical that the business structure is aligned with the vision and mission of the organization. So we have to think of how we will execute the strategy. What are the expectations of our customers? And based on this, we determine the best structure approach to support and accomplish this. We have also to think of some touch points with our customers, how we will interact with our customers, how we can facilitate the highest level of responsiveness. Also, we need to think of the organization. Are we a single product based organization? So when we start as a single product based or focused company, and we start with a specific organizational structure, this might not satisfy the strategic intent when we develop more products or we add more services, or we might enter new markets and expand geographically. Frequently, we need to assess the effectiveness and the level of support and responsiveness the current organizational structure gives us. Our strategic intent might be offering premium prices or low costs, or we play in a niche market. Whatever our strategic intent is, the structure, the organizational structure, must ensure that we deliver the products and the services to the marketplace in a manner that is superior to the competition. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve success. So we shouldn't think of the organizational structure as a static structure. We should regard it as evolving structure. That's why we need ongoing monitoring and ongoing assessment. And this is called structural evolution. So many organizations start with a generalized structure development path, but as they grow and they move throughout the organizational life cycle, they change the structure. So in the early stages of the organization, we might have a simple organizational structure. Think of an entrepreneur launching a new business. So in many cases, the number of employees and the managerial decision-making structure will be simple, straightforward. Owner and some employees. Then, as the business grows, we might need to have a better control, a better guidance, a much more sophisticated decision-making channel. And we move to a functional structure. In the functional structure, we might have departmentalized tasks such as marketing, sales, manufacturing, IT, finance, HR, engineering. As the business grows further, we might need to reorganize or restructure the business specific customer categories, and each category eventually will work as an individual or separate unit. This evolution of the organizational structure depends on the strategic goals and how the direction of the company changes from time to time. It's also important to understand that in real life we might have different intents, not only one intent. And these intents at the end align together to guide the organization to its strategic direction. So we might acquire a new business, we might enter new market, we might transition from a local small business to a medium business and to a bigger business. We might transform from a regional player to international entity. So along the way, we need to customize the business system to support the direction that we are taking. And also, to remain competitive, we have to foster a culture and work environment that supports innovation, collaboration, sharing ideas, seizing opportunities in the market. And also, we have different types of organizations. We have project-based organizations and we have product-based organizations, or a hybrid of the two. So we might need to create a cross-functional environment where employees from certain departments that perform certain functions have to collaborate and work hand in hand with other departments that provide different functions. We might have different types of organizational structure, or we might have a matrix type structure that combines different types together. In general, we have four types of organizational structures. In general, we have four types of organizational structures. These structures seem to fit for traditional organizations where some aspect of task specialization is present. So our employees understand and know exactly their roles and responsibilities. For example, the HR departments, they work in HR. We might have under this department HR assistant, a payroll administrator. So it's somehow logic to combine these functions under one umbrella or one department. And this is called departmentalization. So based on the organization application of the common elements like common purpose, coordinated effort, division of labor and work, hierarchy that reflects authority and decision making, and also the degree of centralization or decentralization and formalization of tasks and activities. So when we include all these criteria, the resulting structure will have four broad department structures, general organizational structure: functional, product, customer, and geographic. The first one is the functional structure. In this organizational structure, we have for example, the CEO or the general manager and different units under them. And each unit is structured around a certain function. We group employees into functional areas based on specialization, expertise, and these functional areas are correspondent to the stages in the value chain. So in the value chain, we need certain processes, certain operations, certain tasks to be performed to support our customers. So we design the functional organizational structure around these processes and operations. These departments reports to the CEO, and the CEO or the general manager coordinates and integrates the work of these separate units. This type of organizational structure allows the highest degree of specialization and allows deeper expertise, and this will allow a higher division of labor and work, and this will lead to higher productivity. And this type of organizational structure, functional structure, also allows for top-down and bottom-up communication. Then we have product-based structure. In this type of structures, we have companies or businesses that have a diversified products lines, different services, different products, and the organizational structure is designed around these different product lines. So, for example, if we have different industries or different product lines that we are working at, healthcare sector, aviation, transportation, environment, and energy, business solutions. So these are domains that we are working and providing different products and services in. So we arrange the hierarchy of the business around these units. We might also have, in addition to these product-based units, other supporting units like the legal department, the human resources, the finance. The main advantage of this type of organizational structure is to shorten the product development cycle. However, in this type of organizational structures, it's difficult to scale this unit up because this might lead to duplicating resources or duplicating the work, and in doing this we lose some autonomy. So we have the general manager or the CEO, and under him we have product-based units and supporting units. And within each unit we might have different functions. For example, if we provide some products and services to the health sector, we might have research and development in the health sector. We might have, for example, the food industry. We might have another research and development in the food industry. So these many functions works under these departments, and these departments are designed around the product or the sector that we provide certain products and business and services to. We might have a finance unit in each department, so this might lead to the duplicate of resources. Now we have customer-based structure. Usually we find this type of organizational department in service-based companies or businesses, such as the healthcare, such as education. It's somehow similar to the product-based structure, but the organizational structure is designed around the customer base and the customer needs. So we might split the business segments into different groups that cater to a specific customer base or customer segment. For example, in the healthcare sector, we might have outpatient, we might have urgent care, we have emergency care. So these units are designed around specific customers and their needs. So we might have units that's in the medical field, and they report to the chief medical officer, for example, and we have other supporting units that reports to the chief administrative officer, and both the chief medical officer and the chief administrative officers are reporting to the CEO. And why we do this? Because we need a specific type of expertise to manage these units. Then we have geographical structure. In this structure, we have or we work in different markets in different geographical areas or different geographical regions, and we have a higher degree of localization. The product itself, the service itself is tailored to a local market. For example, Coca-Cola, they might have certain units deals with the Middle East, Other units deals with North America. Other unit deals with South America. We might have a food chain that localize the products. For example, if in the Middle East they provide halal food, if they are in Latin America, they might include some of the local ingredients and the local acceptable taste into or flavors into their product line. So we design the organizational structure around these geographical regions, so employees and the talent will be close to that specialized local market. They might source the ingredients from this market. They might tailor the products or the services specifically to this market. And they all report to a headquarter, but they have a higher degree of autonomy and a higher degree of decision making and accountability. And then we have the matrix style. And in this matrix style, we combine more than one organizational structure type. So some companies, although we need task specialization and we need to departmentalize the functions, we still need to have other components of other organizational structure types into our current organizational structure. For example, if we are a project-based company, so we need to create some cross-functional work environment that allow employees from different departments to work together. So we have people with specific expertise and talent in certain area, but these people or these personnel are lended to other functional areas or other areas in the organization for a specific period, and they go back to their original units. In other companies, we might organize employees according to specific products or specific market segments or specific geographical regions. So we combine two structures here. For example, the geographical based organizational structure with the functional organizational structure. And in some cases, the same employee will have two bosses, one in the localized area and one in its functional area or expertise domain. The major benefit of this type, the matrix type, is having this degree of flexibility, and at the same time they have a balanced decision making. However, it adds a degree of complexity that can confuse employees. And of course, we have to discuss virtual organizations, because right now we are at a time in the history where many virtual organizations are emerging and virtual businesses are emerging. Virtual organizations have specific characteristics. For example, time is flexible within a 24/7 operating environment. In these virtual organizations, technology is core to the structure. It's not supporting, it is core. Physical space and location are, they have minimal impact on the business. Organizational components are considered independent of each other, and common projects or activities are what binds employees together. The digital age that we live in now dictates the formation of new organizational structure, and that's why we are talking about virtual organizations. Although I remember my first business blog that I have ever published was virtual management in 2007, because at that time the beginnings of virtual organizations started to emerge in the markets, and we started to see this type of virtual organizations, and no one knew what to do. In the core of such organizations, we have remote collaboration, and we have the technology that enables remote collaboration. And of course, when the COVID-19 pandemic happened, the whole world rapidly transformed into more and more virtual organizations. For example, Shopify turned their operations into virtual organization totally. Here in Conestoga College and in other universities and colleges around the world, they transformed the whole business model into virtual model. This virtual structures, they have the two sides, the advantages and the disadvantages. So when it comes to advantages, we have reduced expense because we don't have the fixed assets that used to eat up most of the capital and the operational capital. And also we have the ability to employ global talent. So we get our employees from various geographic regions depending on their expertise and their talent. But at the same time, we lost some of the monitoring and control traditional structures used to enable us. And this enables innovation, but at some times they hinder the growth of the organization. Reliance on technology and communication also has its downsides. The way we deal with conflicts within the time zones, the different cultures, the different work ethics, and also the lack of non-verbal communication affects the quality of work, the efficiency and effectiveness of communication. And also it affects how we build relationships with our customers and clients. So we might have these information communication platforms enabling communication remotely. It took the human touch out of communication. That's why in virtual organizations, we will find that the virtual organizational structure is designed around the communication and the communication technologies that enable the communication process. And of course, as I said, this information technology is core to the design of the right structure. We need the type of technology that enables collaboration, that enables collaborative relationships between different teams, between different individuals, while have huge cost savings when we adapt to this virtual model, because we eliminate those expenses related to office space, real estate, utilities. We can support and target different geographical locations without the huge overhead associated with this growth. We can also hire employees with higher competency levels, and we attract global talent. And usually in the virtual organizations, we have the structure supports and facilitates more autonomous decision making. And this enables different teams to respond quickly to emerging market needs. And usually this shortens development cycles. And there are some researches that support that the productivity of employees in virtual organizations is increasing. And of course, when productivity goes high, profit goes higher. So let's see an example of a sample virtual organization. We might have head office and employee home offices. So all or most of the employees are working from their home offices. We might have subcontractors working from their offices. We might have satellite office locations, and these are formal office locations and not informal home offices. We might have fulfillment centers if we deal with specific products, and we might outsource some of or most of our IT services. So a virtual organization might have a physical product and they have only the fulfillment centers for these products, and most of the other functions are managed virtually. And this is reflected in the organizational structure that facilitates the communication and interactions between different teams.